Hey, welcome back to the Unschooling Mom to Mom podcast. I'm Sue Patterson, and today we're going to talk about something that makes a lot of unschooling parents a little nervous: transcripts. Before you click away, hear me out. This is not going to be a schooly episode. I'm not going to tell you how to slip in a little algebra, like you might fold the veggies into a sauce so it can go unnoticed. In fact, I think by the end of this, you're going to feel even more confident in your unschooling choices, especially if you're raising teens or even tweens. So let's get into it. Why talk about transcripts now? I know most unschoolers avoid this topic like the plague. And someone says, hey, how's that transcript thing coming along? Or what do unschoolers do about making transcripts for college? And suddenly, panic sets in. Lots of times, unschoolers avoid the transcript conversation because it feels so schooly. It's something those traditional homeschoolers worry about, not us. But more often than not, our unschooled kids eventually need a transcript for community college, for conservatories, for all sorts of next level things. What I want families to know is it doesn't mean shifting away from the unschooling principles at all. It doesn't mean cracking open a curriculum or switching things up on your unschooled teen so they can buckle down. And in case you're just listening, I was doing air quotes for buckling down. I want to show you a transcript course that focuses on the real unschooling lifestyle of teens and how you can actually feel more confident about continuing on the unschooling path with your bigger kids. It just means taking stock of what's happening and learning how to translate it into something the outside world understands. I have a link to a course that I've created. I've expanded it from my mini course that I had before, and I can walk you through this because transcripts are really just a translation tool. That's it. They're not a measure of worth. They're not proof that you're doing it right. They're just a tool, like a passport or a resume, a way to show the world what your teen has been exploring and learning in their own unique way. And when you start thinking about that earlier, before the pressure is on, you give yourself time to do it with intention. You get to continue unschooling your way while still preparing for whatever future paths your teen may choose. So I want to give you 5 quick reasons for starting to think about transcripts before you actually need them. Number 1 is avoiding the panic pivot. Waiting until senior year often leads to scrambling. You start to question everything. Did we do enough? Did we miss something? And sometimes that panic causes families to ditch unschooling altogether and jump into a rigid last-minute school-at-home approach just to have something to show. But if you start earlier, even in small ways, that panic melts away. Not start doing schooly things earlier, but start noticing where the learning is. You can simply remember things in a much less rushed way. You've been tracking the learning as it's happened, naturally, gently, and confidently. Number 2, see the learning that's already happening. A lot of parents feel unsure about whether their teen is doing enough. But when we map their interests and activities into the transcript categories like language arts and social studies or science or fine arts or math, it becomes crystal clear. That YouTube documentary binge, social studies. That Minecraft server project, technology and math. That poetry they wrote and never shared with anyone, language arts. Sometimes you don't even see the learning until you start naming it. I have talked to hundreds of parents about their teens' transcripts. They come in saying, oh man, I don't know how we're going to make this work. But after just a little bit of time, they're saying, wow, we actually did a lot. And then by the end, even their teen feels confident about it all. Number 3, keep doors open without shifting gears. Some teens want to go to community college. Some want to apply to a conservatory or a trade school or a job with a resume, or just have a record for future opportunities. And having a transcript doesn't mean you're preparing for college. It just means you're not closing the door in case they want to walk through it. And here's the thing. You don't have to stop unschooling to make that happen. You don't have to switch anything up. You just have to see it differently. In fact, some of the most compelling transcripts I've seen come from unschooled teens who didn't do anything people would classify as traditional or academic because their learning was real. It was lived. It was not a series of worksheets or test scores. It was full of depth and passion. Number 4, working on a transcript ahead of time will help boost your confidence during the mid-teen years. Around 14 or 15, a lot of unschooling parents hit a wall. You're not sure if it's working. Your teen is changing. Friends are enrolling in dual credits or SAT prep courses, and that's where self-doubt creeps in. But starting to document what your teen is doing, even loosely, can actually calm your nerves. You start to see just how much they've grown. You realize their free time is full of learning moments. You stop comparing so much and instead start appreciating this unique path that's been unfolding. It's not that your teen is changing what they're doing. You're just seeing it differently and writing some notes down about it. And lastly, it's not about worksheets, it's about language. Creating a transcript doesn't mean turning your living room into a classroom or running around and signing them up for a whole bunch of courses. It means learning how to describe what your teen is doing in language that makes sense to colleges or employers or other institutions. And I can help you with that. I've created transcripts for hundreds of unschooling families. Families whose teens have gone on to do all kinds of things, attend community colleges and universities, enter the trades, perform at conservatories, start businesses, travel the world. And guess what? They didn't have to abandon their unschooling principles to get there. They just had to learn how to frame what they were doing. So if this is resonating with you and you want a little more guidance, I have this course that walks you through how to build a transcript for your teen without turning into a traditional school-at-home parent. It's called the Unschooling Transcript course, and I've made it easy to follow, full of examples and templates and step-by-step walkthroughs. Whether your teen is just turning 13 or almost done with their high school years, this course could help you move forward with clarity and confidence. And for now, podcast listeners get a special discount. Use the code PODCAST to get the course for just $65 instead of the regular $99. I'll link to it in the show notes or on the blog post version of this episode over at Unschooling Mom to Mom. Remember, this is not about panicking. This is about planning ahead in a way that supports your unschooling values. You don't have to give up freedom to be prepared, and you don't have to turn your teen's life into a checklist. Just learn how to tell the story of their learning in a way that others can understand. You've got this, and I'm here to help. Thanks for listening. See you next time.